Om Vanakkam and welcome to this celebration of Amma's life in person and via webcasting. We appreciate your time and presence, as well as we all know, Amma loves to be connected with the family, friends and the community wherever she lived throughout her life. This service has been prepared according to Amma's wishes. Thank you to those family members who are present with us here in the chapel. We are grateful for your presence during this difficult pandemic time to celebrate our dearest memories of Amma's 90 years of life and to share our grief. We would like to offer our sincere apologies to relatives and friends for our inability to accommodate you all in person at this ceremony. However, Visa and I thank all relatives and friends who are devoting your invaluable time and joining us remotely. As many of you know, Amma fell ill in late March and was admitted to the Novus Private Hospital. She sadly but peacefully passed away on the 9th of April, that is, it was Thursday, around 10:45 p.m. She died of a complication due to a combination of her underlying health conditions and old age. And Visa was there with her at that time. It's okay. It's okay.
Now we would like to begin this service with the 3 Oms, after which I will sing the Panjapuranam. This will be followed by the Sivapuranam, Bhajans and the Gayatri Mantram and Mrityunjay Mantram, which we will all sing together here in the chapel. Of those of you at home, if you would like to join singing in private, you are most welcome to do so. Thank you.
Okay. பிறவி சூழும் தடை நீக்கி அல்லல் அறுத்து ஆனந்தமாக்கியதே எல்லை மறுவாதனை அளிக்கும் மாதோறும் திருவாசகமே நமச்சிவாய வாழ்க நாதம் தாழ் வாழ்க இமை போலும் என் நெஞ்சில் நீங்காதான் தாழ் வாழ்க கோவலையாண்ட குருமனிதன் தாழ் வாழ்க ஆகமமாகினின்று அன்னிப்பார் தாழ் வாழ்க ஏகநேகன் இறைவன் அடி வாழ்க வேகம் கெடுத்தாண்ட வேந்தன் அடி வெல்க பிறப்பருக்கும் இன்னதென்றும் பெய்களர்கள் வெல்க புறத்தாக்கு செல்வோம் பூங்கடல்கள் வெல்க கருவிமார் உள்வரும் கூர்கடல்கள் வெல்க சிறகுவிழா ஓங்குவிக்கும் சிறியோர்கள் வெல்க ஈசன் அடி போற்றி என்னை அடி போற்றி தேசன் அடி போற்றி சிவன் சேவடி போற்றி நேயத்தே நின்ற நிமலன் அடி போற்றி மாயப்பிறர்கள் We will now have bhajans with 3 songs, led by the first one by me, and then my cousins Gauri and Sheila respectively.
श्रीरामचरणं भजे श्रीरामचरणं भजे श्रीरामचरणं भजे श्रीरामचरणं भजे सत्य साई रामचरणं भजे सत्य साई रामचरणं भजे सत्य साई रामचरणं भजे सत्य साई रामचरणं भजे श्रीरामचरणं 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 भजे श्रीरामचरणं 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 भजे श्रीरामचरणं 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 भजे श्रीरामचरणं 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 भजे वैदेही रामं वैकुण्ठधामं वैदेही रामं वैकुण्ठधामं गोपालचूडामणि 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 आत्माभिरामं प्रभु साई रामं आत्माभिरामं प्रभु साई रामं श्रीरामचरणं भजे श्रीरामचरणं भजे श्रीरामचरणं भजे श्रीरामचरणं भजे सत्य साई रामचरणं भजे सत्य साई रामचरणं भजे श्रीरामचरणं 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 भजे जीवन जीवन सत्य साई
साई मेरा जीवन सहारा
साई मेरा जीवन सहारा
जीवन सत्य साई
साई है जीवन जीवन सत्य साई
तेरे बिना साई सब है तेरा
तेरे बिना साई सब है अंधेरा
और करो मेरे जीवन नैया
पर तेरा मेरे जीवन नैया
शरण लगा लो मुझे साई कन्हैया
शरण लगा लो मुझे साई कन्हैया
शरण लगा लो मुझे साई कन्हैया
शरण लगा लो मुझे साई कन्हैया साई है जीवन जीवन सत्य साई भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् शान्ति 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 ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात् ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात् ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति
We have now put together a slideshow. Actually, it's done by both the granddaughters of Amma, with some photos celebrating Amma's life from her youth to her old age.
Nilanthi to offer some words and thoughts in tribute to her dear Amama. This is recorded from now in Nilanthi.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Nilanthi, and I'm proud to say I'm my grandmother's granddaughter. Our Amama Parameswari Sivakumaran was an extraordinary woman who lived an extraordinary life. However, she did so in about as humble and ordinary way as a person can. She was a devoted daughter, sister, wife, mother, grandmother, aunt, and perhaps most importantly, a friend to nearly every person watching this service. Our extraordinary Amama was born in Seremban, Malaysia on the 31st of July 1929 as the eldest daughter of Dr. Velupillai and Ponnupillai and doting sister to her younger brother, sister, and step-siblings. It was always in her nature to be caring, kind, and responsible, and this was always her approach to helping and looking after her family, especially during World War II. Hardship, or the many trials and tribulations of life, as she would always call it, was something that she came to deal with from a young age. Yet to her, I do not believe this was ever a chore or something she found cumbersome. Whenever she spoke of her childhood and her family, it was always with love, passion, and nostalgia. She would always fondly remember being adored and petted by her uncles, aunts, and relatives in Malaysia. She commenced her studies at a convent run primarily by Irish nuns. Her family left Malaysia in 1947 after the war to care for her grandparents in Jaffna, Sri Lanka. At the age of 17, she continued what she had already done as a child and would always do, caring for the elderly and the sick. She, of course, was met by many challenges in moving from what was, war aside, a comfortable life in Malaysia to Jaffna, but you wouldn't have thought this from afar. I think our Amama always met extraordinary challenges with courage, fearlessness, and grace. She continued her role as a caring granddaughter to ailing grandparents, and she learnt to adapt to life again, always in support of her family. Her strong set of personal and cultural values and principles were instilled in her from a young age by her father in particular, who himself was a caring, simple man who led a disciplined life. She attended the famous all-girls boarding school, Ramanathan College. Amama, not only as a young woman but even later in life, had a curiosity about life and was enthusiastic about learning new skills. She remained in life what she was then as a young woman, an excellent and award-winning knitter, craftswoman, and cook. And as we all know, she would willingly offer these skills and services to friends and relatives. Amama always had an affection for the underdogs who crossed her path, those whose lives had not been blessed with privilege, and always selflessly offered help and support whenever she saw it was needed. In 1949, she married our grandfather, or Tata. She would always proudly say that when he first saw her disembarking the ship from Malaysia, it was love at first sight. At the age of 19, she became a loving wife and a devoted and caring daughter-in-law and sister to her only brother-in-law. Her mother-in-law, unfortunately, was paralysed for 7 years, and Amama looked after and cared for her as she would her own mother. They always say that behind a great man is a great woman. I, however, would say that alongside the great man that was my grandfather, who my sister and I unfortunately never had the pleasure of meeting, was our great Amama, performing her extraordinary deeds in her quiet, humble way. She always supported Tata in his teaching career. She was often the powerhouse of support behind his success as a famous teacher, deputy principal, and principal of the renowned Skandavarodaya College in Jaffna. For example, she always supported any school committee meeting that often occurred in their family home by providing delicious home-cooked meals every time they would meet. For the final year school event, the formal dinner menu was always prepared annually by Amama, and their home kitchen was transformed into an industrial kitchen as Amama worked tirelessly as the lead chef year after year. Someone once said, "A mother is a person who, seeing there are only 4 pieces of pie for 5 people, promptly announces she never did care for pie." I think this pretty aptly describes the kind of devoted and selfless mother Amama was to our mother and uncle. In fact, it sums up the mother-like figure she was to not only her siblings and relatives, but the wider community. She always put the needs of her children and family ahead of her own. Amama offered her wholehearted help to relatives and friends in the good and not so good milestones of their lives, be it weddings, funerals, and any ceremonies. She continued to always cater for such events by providing her famous palaharam, short eats, and meals. In 1991, Amama immigrated to Sydney due to the Sri Lankan Civil War and joined her sister, son, and brother's family. This would have been the second time she had left her home, but again, Amama set up a new life with her sister in Homebush effortlessly. She had a talent for making and keeping good friends, largely due to her kind nature and desire to help anyone who truly and genuinely needed it. Amama always came to the aid of her son and daughter and loved her daughter-in-law and son-in-law as though they were her own. She visited my family, being my mother, father, sister, and I, every year from the year we moved to New Zealand. She not only looked after us, probably during years where we were not so easy to look after, but was an endless source of strength and relief for my mother. My mother lost her father young, but whenever she speaks about her mother when she was young, it is always with pride. My amama, as she did during her life, took on the role of her mother and father and always endeavoured to fill that void. During my mother's studies at university, she always sought to find ways to make their workload and lives easier by looking after her grandchildren, the home, and helping with all day-to-day activities when she came to visit. She loved and treated my father as a son and vice versa. One of my fondest memories of my grandmother is as a child when we first immigrated from New Zealand to Australia. After school, every day without fail, our amama as well as her sister, our chinamama or money auntie, would collect me from school and look after myself and my sister until our parents returned from work. These afternoons were always filled with stories and delicious after-school treats. I realised on one occasion just how renowned my grandmother's cooking, kindness and friendship was in the local community. I ran into a group of ladies on Burlington Road who said to me, "Ah, you are Chellam's granddaughter. Your amama is wonderful and she makes the best palahanum." Our amama lived in Homebush, Westmead, and finally in Glenmore Park, near and with our family, until in 2018 she moved to Newmarch House, where she would remain. During nearly all these years, she was, perhaps most importantly, a steadfast companion, friend, and carer to her sister. Her dedication to the happiness and health of her sister Manny, and vice versa, through good times and the difficult, is a testament to what family is. When our amama lived with my parents in Sydney, there were periods of time where my sister and I also lived at home, and some of those quiet moments in time represent to me what my amama was. Knitting on her chair in the living room, making small observations, and providing a quiet and warm presence to whatever room she was in. She was always sociable, comfortable meeting new friends and old. She was just as much at ease at home having a cup of tea in our kitchen as she was when we went out for one. I recall a period of time when she lived with us and I had returned home before graduating from university, when during our free time, we, with my sister, would sometimes go to one of the local and often trendy cafes. I'm not sure she thought as fondly of some of the more experimental smoothies she was made to try. Her adaptability to any new environment, willingness to see the best in people and make the most of change were always traits that were incredibly admirable. It drew the best of people to her wherever she went. She was a wonderful friend to her craft group friends with whom she regularly met, and they were to her. A true friend remembers the song of your life and sings the words back to you when you have forgotten them. Amama embodied this every day. She celebrated with those she loved through the best and carried them through the worst. If someone was unwell or in hospital, she was there with food, love, and all the time in the world. Her creativity and craftsmanship lit a spark that stayed with her until her death. I think everyone here has witnessed her incredible knitting and sewing work. I'm sure it comes as no surprise that these always drew praise and prizes for years on a competition level, as well as on a day-to-day, more leisurely one. Her hobby and point of innate skill were also another opportunity for her to lather everyone with generosity and gifts. I think nearly all the tea towels in my apartment have been made by my grandmother, and good friends of mine have been gifted pram covers and baby clothes for their kids. That's again who she was. The friends of those she loved were her friends too. The home she made for herself at Newmarch House, alongside her sister at the end, is a tribute to the kind and true friend she was. Whenever I would visit her there, Shiva, as she was known by her friends there, would brighten whatever room she was in. She actively threw herself into craft circles, group trips and activities. On one Grandparents' Day at Newmarch House last year, I saw in the love she received and gave to her friends at the nursing home, just to what extent she had tethered herself to the beautiful community there, including my parents and uncle. We always applauded her for this. Will Durant once said that families are the nuclei of civilization. I would like to say, not only as a granddaughter, but on behalf of my family, that our Amama was a nucleus, a powerhouse, and still is a beacon to us. Though she is gone, her wonderful, extraordinary life, carried out so humbly and quietly, her joys and tragedies, her incredible choices and achievements are now part of our indisputable history. On behalf of my family, I would like to thank a few people today. Uncle Kujin, thank you, and we will never forget that you looked after her in the final days of her life and made her death as comfortable as possible. We would also like to thank the staff of Norwest Private Hospital for facilitating this. The staff of Newmarch House were always kind and dedicated in their attention and care of our grandmother. And we would also like to thank Dr. Manoj Thammaratnam for his tireless care and communication that was above and beyond as a GP. A thank you to Dr. Manomohan for his years of also going above and beyond in the care of our grandmother. To her craft group friends, thank you for your years of friendship and kindness towards her. We would also like to thank Jim and Jane from Nepean Valley Funerals and Chris from Fish Media for assisting in streaming this service. To the friends and relatives who have called her and visited her frequently at the nursing home over the years and helped her in numerous ways, we give a heartfelt thanks. And finally, to all gathered here today on the World Wide Web or in person. These are strange times, but thank you for standing with us in spite of the distance between us as we farewell our mother, grandmother, sister, aunt, and friend. We would not be here without her, and I can say we are all better off for having known her. Goodbye, Amama, until we meet again.
Thank you. Nilanthi has thanked everyone, but we are humbly grateful for all your kind thoughts, prayers and support for us. We very much look forward to hosting a memorial service at some stage in the future where we hope to thank you all in person and grieve all together. And I have to actually say this, Chinnamma is not here at the moment, but every day she will call us to say that do this, do that, this is what Amma needs. And even in the morning she reminded me to put some vibhuti on her face, on her forehead, and said pray for her. And thank you Chinnamma for guiding us even though you are not here with me now. And I have to thank Lakshmi Anni and Traviyam for being here. And since the day my mother got sick, they were, and Anna knows that they supported Anna and me, and we were able to be with Amma all the time. And thank you for that, being part of the family. I know you will say that I don't need to be thanked, but I should. Thank you so much for everything. And our lovely girls, Prashanti and Nilanthi, thank you for all the moral support you have given. And every time, every day, the phone calls to support us. And also making the program, the slideshow, and the presentation. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Now, Amma will be doing the arati.
पुष्टिवर्धनम् ऊर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् ऊर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् ॐ